Good evening and welcome to the Taft City Council meeting. I don't have an agenda in front of me. I didn't print it. Can I borrow yours for a minute? Excuse me. For a joint successor agency Taft City Council meeting for Wednesday, January 23rd. This is a special meeting. We're going to begin with a, do we have anybody to do an invitation?
No, but Dr. Jordan said he could if you want to, or you can do them on this one.
Who said? Okay. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation, which will actually just be a moment of silence tonight, and then a roll call, and then we will be recessing to, or adjourning to, which would it be? Recess. We will recess to a closed session to deal with a matter that came to our attention after the posting of our agenda. So we appreciate your patience. If you'll just hang with us, hopefully it won't be more than about 30 minutes. So, okay. So, Mr. Knorr, would you do the honor, please?
Absolutely, given any opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join me, please, remove your hat. Thank you. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please join me in a moment of silence, remembering our troops that are serving both overseas and at home. Thank you. Thank you very much. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Lunder?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor?
Here.
Councilmember Miller?
Here.
Councilmember Knorr?
Here.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Here.
Thank you. And again, we are going to recess to a closed session to consult with our attorney on an item that came to our attention after the posting of our tonight's agenda. So if you'll just bear with us, we'll be...
What is the item?
It's potential litigation. So if you'll just bear with us, we'll be out as quickly as we possibly can. So we're recessed. Thank you. Okay, thank you for indulging us. We've come back out of closed session on that item, and we have no reportable action. And so we'll move on to our regular agenda, which is item number 1, is a public hearing that we will continue from January 15th. And at this time, I will invite anybody wishing to speak in favor or opposition to the consideration of adoption of a final mitigated negative declaration and mitigation reporting and monitoring program for the Hillside Estates residential subdivision project. And I will mention that there are revisions from Fish and Wildlife and from Oxy in the document. So we do have a document. So is there anybody wishing to speak against or in favor of the project? Mr. Love, please state your name and address and proceed.
Verlin Love, 20342 Clear Creek Court, Keene, California, 93531. I'd just like to tell the council we do support your decisions, and we appreciate the work and the hard work you guys have done as well. So we're excited about everything, and we hope that things will move along as we've worked for, I guess. And thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor or opposition?
Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
Can I borrow my piece of paper? Sorry.
I'm proposing Newling.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Susie Geiger, 10800 Stockdale Highway in Bakersfield, representing Occidental Petroleum tonight. Mayor, council members, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you tonight. You have letters that were given to you that we prepared from our outside counsel and a chief geologist, along with a letter from Dogger talking about a similar project in this area. Well, I'm not going to read those letters. I just wanted to acknowledge that you had them. A final mitigated neg deck is a document that states upon completion of initial study that there is no substantial evidence that a project may have significant effect on the environment. The CEQA regulations require that the city determine that there is a significant impact if the project would result in a loss of availability of a known mineral resource. This particular document that you're considering tonight fails to recognize that impact to the availability of the mineral resources. But as was mentioned last week, Taft was born to the oil discoveries over 100 years ago. We respectfully request that an added mitigation measure be added to the mitigated neg deck and a condition of approval be added for consideration for both the vesting tentative tract numbers 7227, the Sandy Creek Estate, and 7230, the Hillside Terrace Estates. The condition would read, all issues concerning mineral rights on the project site shall be resolved prior to approval of the final maps to the satisfaction of the mineral owner. We would also respectfully request that the notice of determination that is required by CEQA not be filed at this time in order to allow for further discussion. We recognize and appreciate the need for housing in Taft. We will continue to actively have discussions with all interested parties until such time that we can agree on an equitable solution. We are in the position to be able to continue discussions and open dialogue and just request that we have this additional time to be able to work this out so that it's a win for Taft and a win for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Geiger. Okay, is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor or opposition to this project? I should say to the negative declaration. Okay, then I will close the public hearing. And before we go on...
Yes, there is, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, there has been some talk about conditions of approval tonight, and the language that the representative from Oxy has basically placed on the table is fairly similar to what the suggested language was, and I don't have any particular heartburn with that.
Okay.
The issue of a notice of determination, however, those are issued as a matter of law, and I think that if the notice of determination should be issued in accordance with the law, and I don't think we have the ability to agree to do otherwise.
Okay.
Can I speak to that? Do you mind if I speak to that?
Sure.
My understanding is if the notice of determination is filed immediately, then there is a 30-day clock that starts. But if the notice of determination is postponed, then there's a 180-day clock per the statute. So that is what we're requesting, is to postpone that notice filing so it doesn't start the 30-day clock. And that's by recommendation of our CEQA attorney. So for your advisement.
And that's not incorrect, but let me have, if the chair
Absolutely.
agrees, have the planning director speak to this issue.
Mr. Waithis?
Mike Waitches, Planning Director, City of Taft. Mayor and members of the council. What CEQA states is that the notice of determination has to be filed within 5 days after the approval of the environmental document, whether it's the mitigated negative declaration or a negative deck. If the project is not worthy, I guess, of filing, a lot of jurisdictions don't file and let it run, the litigation period run to 180 days. But the law says you're supposed to file it 5 days after. So in order to be compliant with the law, we should file it within that 5-day period of time. Normally you try to file it, as soon as you can, just to make sure it's done. So, my recommendation is that we stay within the confines of the law. It is possible, I guess the city attorney can advise on this, to have a separate tolling agreement or something.
Well, I was going to say the parties can reach a tolling agreement if they so desire, but I can't advise the council to do anything other than follow the law.
Yeah.
Any questions, gentlemen?
No, just to clarify, your advice in compliance with the law, and what you're saying is the interpretation of the law is if we approve the negative deck, then we have to file it within 5 days, and then there's 30 days.
That's correct.
All right.
And if the council so desires, if you do approve the mitigated neg deck and the tentative maps, you can do it conditioned upon the language that the Oxy representative has given you, and direct the planning director to file the notice of determination at 5 days. That gives them 35 days to work on some issues and come up with a tolling agreement if they can. At that point, the city has no dog in the fight. If the developer and Oxy want to enter into the tolling agreement, that's fine.
Okay. Very good, gentlemen. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Waitress. Okay, well then at this time I will entertain a motion.
Close the...
It's already been closed,
Okay,
yes.
sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. At this time I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Making Findings and Adopting a Final Mitigated Negative Declaration and Mitigation Reporting and Monitoring Program for the Hillside Estates Residential Subdivision Project."
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, any other conversation or comments?
That's for clarification of my motion, that's to include that
Absolutely,
language.
yes.
The two items.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would include the revision from Fish and Wildlife and the information Oxy has
And if we have the
provided.
language, it probably should be read into the record what those conditions are.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Gonna have to borrow your piece of paper, yes. I hope you wrote it slow because I don't read very fast.
It's like excluding this.
Okay.
That's the 5 day.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so for clarification, this motion and second will include the comments from Department of Fish and Wildlife and the comments from Oxy, which will include all issues concerning mineral rights on the project site shall be resolved prior to approval of the final maps to the satisfaction of the mineral owners.
And just for the council's, so you know what you're voting on, did you have a motion and a second? You're voting that as a condition
Right.
of this approval so that the final maps cannot be approved when that comes up unless that condition has been met.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember North,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
I have one question before I vote. Do we have to read the one for the Fish and Game?
It's been entered into the record
It's in
already.
the record.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Councilmember Walter,
Yes.
Mayor Miller, or Mayor Linder.
Yes, thank you. Old habits die hard, we understand that. Item number 2 is the continuance of, again, a public hearing, which is to consider the conditional approval of vesting tentative track number 7227 Sandy Creek Estates and vesting tentative track number 7230 Hillside Terrace Estates. This is a continued public hearing, so if anybody would like to speak in favor or opposition to this.
My name is John Wilson. I'm the applicant in the project. I'd like to, certain the public hearing is still open, I'd like to commend everybody for working together and getting this project done. And I think everybody has met the needs and everybody's happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, Larry Moxley from Bakersfield. I too wanted to come over. I've been watching this the last couple of days. I've been involved in some other issues very similar to this in Bakersfield before the Kern County Board of Directors. And I want to commend you for your leadership and what you're doing tonight and the way you're doing it. I also want to thank Oxy and how they're handling themselves. And I want to take this back to the people I represent in Kern County and talk to the board and the planning director and say, here's a model that's working. And I appreciate what you guys are doing and how you're doing it. We had a little bit of a tussle last night, and we've been a little aggressive with one another, and you guys are showing us something, and I want to go back and share that with our friends over there as we move forward on these very same issues. So I respect what you've done and how you've done it. I really respect you guys and how you've handled yourself, and I want to see us do that in Bakersfield and Kern County. So my hat's off to you, and I salute you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? I will close this public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft making findings and conditionally approving tentative track map number 7227 Sandy Creek Estates." Can I do this in one motion, or is it got to be two motions?
Let's make it two.
Okay. All right. So that's my first request for motion.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments,
Do
gentlemen?
these have the same conditions as the first one?
They will, yes. They're following up.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second. Any other comments, gentlemen?
No additional comment.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember North?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yeah.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. The next item is for a motion to approve resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft making findings and conditionally approving vesting tentative tract map number 7230 Hillside Terrace Estates."
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second, gentlemen. Mr. Knorr?
No, I'm just getting good at this motion thing.
Mr. Cryer?
Moving right along. I'm just happy that the project's moving forward and can't wait to get started.
Mr. Miller?
I can't get in there fast enough, Mr. Norr.
I'm sorry.
I'm supposed to offer it up to the motion first.
I have no comment.
Mr. Waldrop?
No comment.
Just a quick comment, because this kind of closes out quite an eventful chapter, I think, for a lot of us that are not real versed in real estate or oil. But I have had the privilege to sit with all of the parties involved, and I will tell you that the folks that are wanting to do this project want to do this project. They have great ideas and good interest in the city of Taft, and I think we've established a very renewed relationship with Oxy, who is a big player in this community and in this area. So in talking to both, I can see this coming to a resolution and fairly quickly, because Oxy is already working on it from my understanding, and we want to make sure that developers can move forward at a steady pace so that you can stay on track too. So thank you so much for your efforts, because the city of Taft will be better for that, and I appreciate that. And I guess we'll call for a roll call.
Councilmember North?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Item number 3 is citizens' request for public comments. The only one wishing to speak tonight is Kathy Ornan with the, are you with the chamber tonight, or?
I'm with the chamber.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Kathy Oren, 513 Hilltop Court, and tonight I'm speaking as the Executive Director of the Taft District Chamber of Commerce. Last week when I spoke, I was speaking just as a citizen. I want to applaud the patience and tenacity of Mr. Colston, and I want to also say that I've appreciated getting to know and working with Verlin and Glinda, John and Cheryl and the rest of their team for taking time. They've taken time to get to know our community and to respond to the comments and suggestions for how their project can be better, how it can enhance what we need here in Taft. And I want to say that I'm very hopeful that the issues that we have yet to go through will be done in an amicable and timely manner. We believe that we are on the brink of a great rebirth for our community. And I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't believe that there is great potential here in Taft. So I want to thank the council. I want to thank the players in this kind of dramatic day, and encourage everyone to forge ahead and keep our eyes on the vision. We are very excited at the Chamber to see this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Item number 4 is a resolution setting policy and agreement for iPad use by city officials. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members have expressed the desire to transition to a paperless agenda and the use of electronic appliance, specifically Apple iPads. 5 iPads have been provided by the police department for council's use, and each iPad has been set up for a individual user ID and password. The only cost associated at this time is for the purchase of protective folios with keyboards for each iPad at a total cost of $546. It is advised before the iPads are issued that a policy be approved and agreements be signed by the officials that will be using them.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve expenditure of $546.92 for the protective cases of these iPads.
Mr. Mayor, I will not make that motion in recognition of former Mayor Miller's request.
I make that motion. Thank you very much.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Miller, comments?
Sometimes it gets too serious around here. No, I was on the Air Pollution Control Board, and I was issued an iPad. They were expending about 500 cases of paper a year for just agendas, and the iPads cut that down substantially, and any documents you need were always saved on those iPads, and it was just better use of resources. Although we're spending $500, we've already got the iPads, and we're going to be using them for council, and it'll just be a lot handier and more convenient, and we'll be able to recycle the paper that we won't have to be recycling paper anymore. So I'm wholeheartedly behind this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Waldron?
Well, we got to keep going with the future. It's getting less complicated, but there will be times where the iPad, they will have to have some printouts and whatnot. Sure. But, we move on and do better each time, so I'm all for it. Thank you.
Mr. North?
Hey, save the trees. Go green.
Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that the iPads are currently surplus items with the police department. They're not using them, and that these are only going to be set up for Wi-Fi. So if any council member chooses to use the cellular aspect of these iPads, it's on them, not the city. But typically, Chamber of Commerce has Wi-Fi. I've opened up my Wi-Fi at my house so you can come park in my driveway if you'd like, I guess. I don't know. But we also are transitioning to the iPads or like products at KernCog, and KernCog has done a cost analysis, and even with buying the iPads, they're slated to save over $20,000 in paper alone the first year. Wow. It's incredible the amount of paper we go through. So I'm certainly in favor of this, and I appreciate you gentlemen. So may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldron?
Yes.
Councilmember Pratt?
Yes.
Councilmember North?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. The second action is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Adopting a Policy for iPads Used to Council Members." Motion?
Second.
I guess I made that motion. And I'll take it. Basically, this is housekeeping, and we are under basically the same guidelines as any city employee would be. We're not getting any special favors here or anything like that. So we feel it's important that we have rules to go by also. So, Mr. Miller, comments?
No comment.
Mr. Waldron?
No comments.
Mr. North?
I agree.
Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder?
Yes. It's weird.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldron?
Yes.
Councilmember Pratt?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
The updates for the city.
Thank you. Before we adjourn to closed session, Lon Boyer, our Human Resource Director, has an announcement to make. I guess it's regarding our city website.
Oh, yes, thank you.
It's just something that we know.
I appreciate the opportunity to do it here in public. We've had a security issue with our website. As you know, the council approved a new website contractor to come on board on December the 18th. We're working on getting that up and live and running. In the meantime, our previous provider, due to the old technology, our website has been gotten into by outside folks at least twice over the last month and a half, posting payday loans and other things that are inappropriate to have on our city website. So as a security issue, we have decided to go ahead and take down the current city's website. We're putting up a temporary status page, which will have necessary contact information, email, city phone numbers, and so forth like that. And that'll be up there for a few weeks until the new site is live. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Before we recess to closed session and I read all this other jumble, I just want to thank those of you in the public that came down tonight. Everyone I've talked to is in favor of housing for Taft, especially quality housing, and I think just those that were here tonight showed the support, and I appreciate that very much. So at this time, the council will recess to closed session. On item A, the City Council will hold a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9. Item C, claimed filed by Walter Wise. Item B is the City Council will hold a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 to give direction to its labor negotiator concerning labor negotiations all units. And item C, the City Council will hold a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, performance evaluation, position to be evaluated, city manager. Thank you for being here tonight.